ahead and start us off.
Well, Coach, I think last year we started with the same question. How was your summer, first and foremost? Give me an easy one.
Yeah, it was good. Pretty uneventful, to be very honest with you. Went to Maine with my family. Went to the Outer Banks. Um, did some staycation here, which is, I mean, obviously we have the beach, right? So did some of that, but I find myself going to the office too much when we do that. So I think next year my wife is going to make us go away a little bit more.
What would you say the overall focus of this coaching staff and this team was in the offseason?
Just building trust in one another. I mean, that's a word I've really focused on, and not really in one another, but building trust in schemes, building trust in each other, building trust in their own ability and their own their own preparation. So I think that's been the major focus.
Did you notice it was easier to click a little bit with most of the staff in place, carrying on from last year to this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think you know one thing I've been blessed is I've been able to hire a bunch of great guys, throughout my time here, and so I think it's been kind of easy to integrate new people into the staff just because we have such good people and good families around and that sort of thing.
How's Grant upped his game from last year to this year?
I see him having a lot more conviction when he throws the ball. I see him having a lot more leadership when he's talking to the guys and running routes and things like that. I think he's moving better in the pocket, more efficiently. So I think that's been one of the other big ones.
Coach, is this team where it needs to be right now? Should be? Is it beyond what you're expecting?
No, I mean, I don't think if a team's where they need to be, right, exactly where they need to be right now, then I think people's expectations are probably too low. So I mean, we got quite a bit of time left to prepare. I mean, in football terms, a week is everything, right? I mean, we spend a whole week preparing for one person, so week preparation is huge. So for us to have 10, 11 days left is that's a lot of time. So we still got some things to work on, but I feel good about the direction we're headed. So that's definitely been a positive.
With you and your staff, Coach, how do you balance in this day and age of college football transfer portal kids and then kids out of high school recruits? Do you like to be 50-50? Does this coaching staff have a philosophy? Is it just kind of fits? How do you guys do that? How do you balance it?
I mean, I think you have to adjust a little bit year to year based on what's going on. You just don't want to have if you took all high school kids, you'd have the youngest team in America. So we don't want to do that. So we have to try to balance it out. We've been about anywhere between 55% on either side. So it's ended up being about 50-50 on that end of it. We still want to recruit high school kids, and we're going to. I mean, we're still taking 18, 19, 20 a year. So it's just different because it used to be you'd have a 25 to 30 person class. Now we're having 35 to 40 person class. So it's just a little bit different.
Crazy that we're already talking about the season opener being less than 2 weeks away, but do you guys lick your chops at an opportunity like South Carolina? How good of a barometer is that for where you guys are to start the season?
I think I don't care who you're playing. You're just excited to play somebody who's not your own colored, who doesn't, you haven't been going against every day, who doesn't know everything you're going to do before you do it. And you're just ready to play somebody else. And I think it's one of the things that makes college football great is there is no scrimmages, right? I mean, we are literally the only sport in the world that doesn't have that. And I think that's kind of cool.
Coach, how much of the offseason have you guys worked on using the green dot helmets through the new players here?
Every day. Every day. Yep. I mean, we have to. I think it's going to have an impact. I don't think it's going to have as big of an impact as maybe some people think. But it is going to have an impact, just in some communication. And there's going to be a little bit more where maybe the quarterback will look like he's checking some things that maybe the guy's just having, the offensive coordinator or signaler is having them do. So there'll be a little bit of that, but I don't think it's as monumental as maybe people make it out to be. If it is, I think you'd hear about it more in the NFL. You really only heard about it in the one Super Bowl, the Rams versus the Patriots, right? I mean, so I think it's one of those things where it's a big deal and it is a major change, but it's not quite the thing that maybe most fans think it is.
Was there a guy who surprised you during camp, who kind of came out of his shell and really kind of rose to the occasion and surprised you?
I think we had quite a few of them. And if I go through and I try to list them, I think I'll forget somebody.
Sure.
But I think we had quite a few guys. I think, sometimes, especially with like redshirt freshmen or true sophomores, those guys can come out and really do some things because they've been in college for a year, they've trained for a year. And I think those are the guys who kind of step up and do some things. But I also think, we've had some guys where maybe it's their last year, maybe they're fifth-year seniors, and this is their best camp by far, and I feel like they're going to have a really good year.
Year 4 for you on the field as a head coach. How have you seen yourself evolve, and how much more comfortable are you in that role now than maybe even last year? I guess leaders never stop learning in that regard.
I think I'm more comfortable, but the rules have changed every single year I've been a head coach, like the on-field rules. So you've got things all the time. I mean, I'm watching a preseason game the other day, and I didn't necessarily agree with how they handled the 2-minute timeout, which is apparently what we're supposed to call it, not the 2-minute warning. Whatever. It's ridiculous on many levels, but whatever. So I think that even just trying to learn the strategy for things like that is makes it so it's been great. It's made me a little uncomfortable. I think it's made a lot of coaches uncomfortable. The headsets, the tablets on the field, all those sort of things, which make it fun.
Jason Henderson is no doubt your leader on defense. How have you seen him progress this summer, coming off the injury, and in camp?
He's watched a lot more film. I think he's really taken his mental game to a new level, which I think is going to really help him. But he's running around. He's ready to go. He's tackled people to the ground. And so we're excited to have him back, and those teammates are excited to have him back.
Coach, you said that the only things that Jason couldn't do were the things that you wouldn't let him do. Has that lessened since the last time we talked?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, all older guys, there's some things that we hold them out of and things like that. You know what I mean? Some of these guys have had a lot of reps, and they may not need it, and that sort of thing. So that's going to happen from every single year that we're here. But yeah, there's a couple things, but for the most part, he's doing everything that we're asking him to do, and he always wants to do more.
So is he set to be full speed for South Carolina?
Yeah, we're excited. We're ready for him to get going and be ready to go.
Speaking of South Carolina, I mean, last year it was Tech, which is obviously an incredible environment, SEC environment, going into Columbia. What do you say to the guys about handling it and just keeping their composure?
No, I haven't really talked to him yet. I will. I think this is one of the great atmospheres in college football. Having coached there twice, I think it's a really special atmosphere. I think these fans are incredible in South Carolina. So I'm excited to be there. I've only been there for night games, so maybe 3 o'clock isn't as impressive, but something tells me it will be.
What were your 2 games you were there for?
Vanderbilt. We were there twice. We had the pleasure of playing Clowney and Lattimore and
Stephon
Gilmore and Garcia.
Yep.
All those. They weren't terrible.
How'd you guys do?
We lost both games. We got smacked around pretty good the first time when we were there. We lost a close one at home, and then we lost even a closer one at their place the last time. So they were really good. They were really good.
Cross paths with Steve Spurrier at all? That little
No. I was one of those coaches. Listen, if I didn't have to talk to the opposing team's coaches before the game, I wouldn't do that. So I was like, yeah, no.
Go ahead, David.
I don't know if I have to announce anything. Grant will start the first game, and Grant's ready to go, and we feel good about where he's at, and I feel very confident. Obviously having him back in the growth season.
If you would indulge a couple of eventual questions from Richmond. Isaiah and Chris both closed the season quite strong. Did they continue that momentum through spring and again now in training?
The answer. Apparently somebody doesn't
Everybody
want me to
check
answer.
it real quick. Can we just pause for a split second?
I walked here, so I know it's not me. I'm really excited the direction both those guys are playing. And I think they've grown so much. Chris is one of those kids. The amount of growth Chris has had from not only his stature, he weighs quite a bit more and is much stronger than he used to be, but his just overall development as a person is pretty unbelievable. And he's going to have a great year. Feel really good about Chris. He needs to have a great year for us, and I'm pretty confident that he will. Isaiah has really come back, and he's 2 years removed from having a pretty significant injury, and he's back and running better than ever. And he's made a bunch of plays for us. He's as fast or faster than I've ever seen him right now. And I think also he's playing fast because he understands the offense a little bit more. So I'm excited to see where he's going to be too.
He made some very important special teams plays in the Georgia State game when you gained bowl eligibility. Do you anticipate that will
Oh yeah, he's been very good at that for a long time. So anticipate that role continuing and that sort of thing. So yeah, Isaiah's going to be he's going to be a very important piece for us.
Then you mentioned Chris's growth as a young man. How does that manifest?
I think that he's just he's much more confident in his abilities, much more confident in his knowledge of the scheme. He's much more confident in his overall football knowledge, and so that allows him to play faster just each and every play he knows what's going to happen, and maybe he gets beat on a play, but then he knows he's going to get his chance later on, where maybe before that thing would stick with him a while and affect him down the line.
Have you played the new college football 25 yet?
Of course.
How'd you do?
Well, I'm playing
Getting the hang of it?
No, I'm playing my son. I'm getting murdered. I mean, my son's one of those guys who he's playing on Heisman level, and he literally threw for 1,000 yards and scored over 100 points in every game, and he's playing on Heisman level. So I'm like, yeah, this is fun playing you. This is great times. I mean, I've lost I think I lost one game by 2. I lost another one by 3, and he murdered me a couple times. Yeah. I mean, he's not fun to play against.
But is it cool? Does it take you back a little bit?
Not losing.
Well, not losing.
I didn't used to lose
just
that
the game
so
experience.
that doesn't take me back. No, not losing doesn't take me back. I mean, no, it's a cool. It really is a good. I think they did a wonderful job on it. I really do. I think they. I love how they say. I love how they say Norfolk. Like that's really cool. They don't screw that up. So that's a bonus. It's a cool deal. First thing everyone says is, why aren't the coaches on the game? I mean, the players are all jacked, right? Because they get to be on the game. They get a copy of the game. They get a little cash in their pockets and all that sort of stuff. I mean, coaches, we're a little bit more vain than that. Can you imagine, I'm sure they'd had me a little, we'll call it punchier or stout than I would prefer, or something like that. Or a coach get super angry on the sideline and then, that's going everywhere. And so I just think that as coaches, I don't know if we're ever going to be on it.
Did you ever pull the dad stunt of make him feel like he wanted?
No, because he's whooping me. Yeah, no. So there's none of that. The only game I can really beat him in anymore is the show. I can kind of beat him in that one, but that's really it. The rest of them, it's a landslide. I can be real close in 2K, but somehow he always pulls it out. In 7-game series, I can get like a 3-0 lead, and then he just beats me.
Changing of the guard.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know when it changed. I tell him sometimes, like, hey, we can read a book or do something like that, or are we just going to play this video game? I did ask him earlier, like, hey, what book have you read this year? He looked at me like I was a crazy person. So maybe I need to get more on that.
Since Mark brought it up, I did want to say one thing I did notice because I was on the game too, and in your playbook, in Old Dominion's playbook, they have that formation where you stack the 2 wide receivers basically on the sideline. And I felt like y'all ran that more than anybody in the country last year.
Yeah, we run it quite a bit. There's a few other teams that run it, yeah.
I know it's like I don't want to call it trend in college football, but I noticed in the game that translates to it's just a numbers game, right? People in the box. Can you speak to that formation specifically? Why it's so? I mean, it's just a numbers game, right?
I mean, it's just like anything else. I mean, it's creating space. I think it's the same reason why people run bunch formations, right? Is because you're creating space on outside of the bunch, right? So, I mean, football. One of the great things about it is it's trench warfare, right? It's like World War I. So what you're trying to do is the space of the field is never going to change. So what you've got to do is manipulate it as much as possible. So by using all 53 1/3, you're able to create some space. If you only use, you don't use those last 3 yards, you're giving them, you're giving up some territory that you should have. So that's the main reason.
Ricky, if indeed Judge approves the House settlement, how do you think the 105 roster will affect Old Dominion?
I don't mean to be dismissive of that question because I've probably spent days of my life thinking about that. I don't know. And I don't think anybody does.
That's not being dismissive.
No,
that's being honest.
I don't know, and I really don't think anybody does. I think that's like the thing that we don't know. Because it affects a lot more than you think, right? Like, let's just say for a second that you give out 5 more scholarships. Well, now there's got to be 5 more female scholarships for Title IX, right? So you're not awarding 5, you're awarding 10. And so, that's about $300,000 at least. So that money's going to start, it's got to come from somewhere. And I think that's the thing that everyone doesn't quite understand across the country is like this money's got to still come from somewhere. And I do know that there's vast amounts of it at the Power 4 level. That's fine. But at G5, it's not the same. Like we're doing what we can to help these guys all the time, and we're trying to make sure that they can be successful and those sort of things. And we do a great job. Dr. Hemphill and Dr. Sulik, they do a fantastic job of helping us out. But it's going to be interesting to see where it is because, I mean, Finney, our baseball coach, I mean, he's at what, 11.7 right now, and he can go to 36.
Wow.
Right. So, I mean, don't you think he's going to want to go to 36? Now, he's also a pretty reasonable man. He knows that that's kind of over the top. But let's just say he goes 15 more. Well, that means it's really 30 more. So every scholarship you give is going to be double. And, I think that is great and fair, but I think everyone's got to understand that and realize that it isn't quite as simple as just saying, okay, we're all in. I mean, if we were all in, you start looking at the numbers, you're going to look at 200 plus more scholarships if everyone maxes out the number.
Is there concern among you and your G5 that if the P4s max out football, how does that affect your recruiting?
Not as much as you think. I'm happy that their rosters are going to be limited because the reality of it is right now a lot of them are using NIL to supplement the scholarships and their walk-ons are getting that. And so the guys are basically on full scholarship without it, but they don't have a roster limit. Their roster limits are much higher. So there's a chance that actually it could help us. So I think that we all have to start looking at the opportunities instead of necessarily the negatives of it. But there are going to be some consequences as to what's happening. Again, the money has to come from somewhere. So if you're spending it on this scholarship, it may have to leave somewhere else.
Ricky, I know it's game by game, but looking at the schedule, I know in our office we call this easily Old Dominion's toughest schedule probably in school history when you look at it top to bottom. When you see that schedule, again, I know it's game by game, but how, I don't want to say impressed, I know you can't control it, but what do you think of it top to bottom?
I think it's the best opportunity that Old Dominion's ever had. That's what I think. I don't look at it as toughest or whatever. It's a great opportunity. I mean, first of all, our home schedule, if you're a fan around here and you just like football, there's no better home schedule maybe in the country, especially at a group of 5 level. This is unbelievable. So I think that for us, it's a great opportunity, and that's how we're going to approach it. Listen, I have no idea like who we play. You know what I mean? Like people will send me stuff all the time, like when we play them and stuff. I looked at that a long time ago so that I could make plans. Like I've already made plans on the Thursday game. I know how we're going to practice that week and all that sort of stuff. But other than that, no idea.
Anything else, Coach? All right. Thank you, guys.
Hey, thanks, Coach.
Thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
you.
Appreciate it.